company.
Then what you're saying is they sell the HOA on that, but it's actually the distressed homeowner who's paying an inflated amount. And could part of that reason could be that this is a job that could be done by administrators, but because lawyers have gotten involved in the process and saw the big dollars that they're billing legal fees to a process that is really an administrative process that could be billed at much lower rates, but they apply legal hours to it. Is that a fair statement?
You know, the process can be done by a collection agency or by a law firm. You know, unfortunately, because or not, however you want to look at it. Right. You know, the CAI, which is the Community Association Institute, has been extremely active in lobbying our legislature and, you know, our other governing bodies in ensuring that they have a tight grip on these things. The management companies are really not even permitted to go through this simple statutory process. And there is no reason why a collection agency should be charging $400 for a one-page note, or even $300 for a one-page note.
Then why do they do it once again?
Well, like I said, because they can. Okay?
And how is it if there's no regulatory body that's telling these companies that they can't charge these outlandish fees?
Right now there is not. That's correct.
And I understand that there's been so much public outcry that recently at the CICC meeting, which actually governs the collection agencies in the state of Nevada, that finally that a number of concerned citizens showed up at that meeting, and there were tragic stories of people who had a fee of a couple $100 that turned into several $1,000s. How can these collection companies take these relatively small amounts of money and turn them into thousands of dollars? Can you comment on that?
I think it's because of the nature of the way the statute was created. You know, maybe it wasn't intended to snowball into what it has, but because it's a lien against the property, because no one is regulating the fees, and the persons engaging the collection companies are not the ones ultimately paying the fees. It's either a distressed homeowner or some other third party, you know, and you know, I will tell you that there are collection companies out there making huge charitable donations, sponsoring events, giving, you know, personal gratuities, if you will, to the persons that engage them. You know, and certainly I don't want to say that all of the collection companies are doing that. That's absolutely not true. But the practice is widely known, especially here in Clark County. You know, one of the things that can happen is that the management companies will typically charge a management company audit fee for auditing the file and making sure that everything's in order and kind of trying to make sure that it's ready to send over to a collection company. Okay, and that's a legitimate fee for the management company to charge. But what will happen sometimes is that when the management company turns the file over to a collection company, the collection company will advance that fee back to the management company. And so it is a way for the management company to gain a lot of cash flow. If they turn that file over to the collection company, it's almost what I would call a kickback in some ways. The cost is ultimately passed on to the homeowner or whoever ends up paying the collection fees, whether it's an investor or a bank, the homeowner. But the fact that the collection company cuts a check back to the management company for that advance audit fee kind of starts the ball rolling with some management companies being very aggressive about turning these files over to a collection company because it lines their pockets.
Wow. You know, I want to make one comment. I know there is a story. I've been dealing with one particular condominium complex in Las Vegas here, and have a number of units in that complex, and they were dealing with one collection agency, and the names will go unnamed, but I know that I stated to contact yourself from Cooper's Castle Law Firm, and you went in and you met with that management company, and you just told me the story where they looked at your fee structure and they commented, how can you possibly make money at these fees? Can you comment on that? Just so our viewers today have an understanding of just how much money there is in this, but there's no regulation, and it isn't as if the homeowner can choose the collection agency. The HOA chooses the collection agency, and the disparity in billing can be several times different between each collection agency, and the politicians in the state of Nevada have to get a handle on this, because 99% of residents, I'm using a number, but any speech that I've done in front of several hundred people, the hands all go up universally in the room against what's going on in the collection agent industry. Yet it's a very, very powerful lobby movement that's very well funded, and is very difficult for the individual homeowner to fight. And a lot of times, especially when they are moving, say, from Henderson to the Northwest, and they're waiting for their closing statement, and in that process, the only number that they have left to get is what they owe on the HOA dues that are overdue. They expect something for $1,000, and when it arrives, it's $4,000 or $5,000, and the collection company knows full well that this person is all packed up, ready to move, and that their financing at the bank is going to expire. I don't know what anyone else out there calls that, but I call that in the gray area. What's your comment on that one?
Well, you covered a lot of area there. With respect to our fees, I have to say that, preparation of a one-page notice, even with myself as an attorney doing that, our firm, has a broad area of interest. We don't just do HOA collections. We do trustee foreclosures for the banks. We do civil litigation related to the mortgage banking industry, general counsel work. We have an evictions department. We have a full bankruptcy department, an REO department. And so this is not everything that we have to pay our bills. It's a small piece of what we do. And yet it is exactly in the area that we're familiar with. So, we have software in place, we have people in place, and it's not difficult to produce the notices to comply with the statutes. So to say, we've got to have $300, that's what it's worth. We can't make a profit unless we're making $300 for producing this notice. It's just not accurate. And the fee being charged, even though it's become industry standard, is certainly, there's no relationship between the value of what is being produced and the fee that's being charged.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, the people who are being billed have no choice on the collection company that's billing them. So the disparity in the bill that they receive is several times. Let me give one example, and once again, we won't name any companies, but I know one company that charges $1,500 for a notice of default to post it. Now, what's your fee for the exact same service?
We don't actually charge an additional fee ourselves for doing that. We charge a fee for each step of the 4-part process that we do. There's a notice of delinquent assessment lien, a notice of default, an election to sell, a notice of sale, and there's actually conducting the sale. We do not mark up our costs, okay? So if the posting and publishing company that we're engaging to do this charges $425, that is the exact cost that we're passing on to the association. We don't mark that up. I guarantee you that the newspapers and posting and publishing companies don't charge $1,500 for doing those services. So if a collection company or a law firm is charging $1,500, they are marking up a cost, and they're passing that markup along to the person that ultimately pays this bill. Many companies will do that if they order a title product, which is called a TSG, which will ensure that all of the correct persons are being notified at the correct addresses. The title company may charge $290 for that product, but many companies will mark that up to $350, $400, whatever amount. And so in addition to the fees that they're charging for services actually rendered, they're marking up their costs and inflating the amount that they're actually able to keep in